Hello. Today, I'll be giving you my third part on my Phase 2 Arcane Mage guide. I will talk about some minor changes on how to use clear casting, a minor spec change that you could use if you want to be a little bit more tanky and drop your improved Blizzard, and some gameplay footage going through my thoughts and processes during a Vashj fight. First, the clear casting change. A few weeks ago, it came to my attention that there was an interaction between clear casting and Arcane Missiles, where you could double dip on the 30% crit buff. How it works is that when you are spamming Arcane Blast and you get a clear cast proc, you will finish your next Arcane Blast for free, but instantly queue up an Arcane Missiles, resulting in both getting the 30% crit buff, but only the Arcane Blast being free on mana. I assume this interaction works because even though it may seem Arcane Blast instantly hits the target, there is a very small delay that the game doesn't register the spell hitting the target. Thus, if you start a channeled spell, the spell is being casted during this delay. This interaction only works with instant spells like Arcane Missiles. For this reason, I would suggest this method of clear cast usage over the cancel casting I suggested in my previous video. While the cancel casting is more mana efficient, the damage gained from the double 30% crit is worth it. Plus, it is easier to perform instead of relying on fast reaction time to canceled casts. Next is an alternative spec that I've been playing for the past several weeks since I don't need improved Blizzard for anything. This spec doesn't technically improve your damage, but since you are more tanky, you can play more aggressively, thus you may do more damage. This build is very good for Vashj since it takes 100% int to armor and 4% reduced overall damage talents. Also, since we never cast Frostbolt, I pick up Frost Warding for the 1 in 1,000 chance I get MC'd and cast Frost Armor, and I pick up Precision because I do sometimes cast Fire Blast while on the move during raid fights. In general, all the frost points are close to worthless, but since Icy Veins is OP and there's really no alternative to it, you're basically spending 11 points for just Icy Veins. Next, I'll talk you through a Vashj attempt, since I get many questions on how I weave in Arcane Missiles and cooldowns during fights. The reason I'm showing you a Vashj footage is because in this fight you will see lots of different mana conservation windows, versus other bosses will pretty much be spamming straight Arcane Blast throughout the whole entire time. So here I'll be talking through a Vashj attempt. Basically, before you go into any boss fight, you should have a general idea on how long the boss fight takes. You can know this by looking at your previous week's log for your guild. So since Vashj takes around 9.5 minutes, I know that I will be using Arcane Power 3 times, and I will be using my Mana Emerald 3 times, and Mana Potion 3 times. Could be 4, but I have enough Spirit that the down phase, going into Phase 2, I just regen it anyway. So here you can see that my opener, I'm using my 3-minute cooldowns. I know this is a good time, even though there's really no rush for DPS in Phase 1, because, again, I'll regen all my mana after this phase, and also I will have my cooldowns back when the Striders start to come up. So here you can see me weaving in some Arcane Missiles. That's because, since I used all my cooldowns, mana is an issue. I burn a lot of mana. So I just weaved in some Arcane Missiles because damage isn't really important in Phase 1. I don't want to go completely sitting at around 40% mana. You'll see over the next 40 or so seconds that it pretty much goes up to full. Even though I'm still casting Arcane Missiles, I'm basically just regenning until the elites come out. And I could have used Mana Emerald and Mana Potion during Phase 1 to just completely spam Arcane Blast and be higher on the damage meter, but since this is a 9.5 minute fight, I would like to use Mana Emerald 4 times, but I don't want to conjure it in the last phase and then use it for basically negligible amount of mana. So here I'm just killing elementals because the Strider's not come up yet. Arcane Missiles doesn't cost that much mana, so I just use it to get a hold on the elementals. to basically not just 100% AFK. So here you can see I was previously at 40% mana, now I'm at 80% or so mana. Even though I was using Arcane Missiles a bunch and my Shadow Priest wasn't hitting any targets, so I wasn't getting any regen from that. So that's just the power of Spirit. So here I'm just basically spamming Arcane Blast because this is the next phase, and so I'll be using my Mana Emerald and Mana Potions. So I use it there after using a bunch of Arcane Missiles, so now got close to 100% mana. And here I'm just killing Striders, killing the elites. I use Arcane Missiles here just because my main focus of damage is on the Striders, so I don't really need to put that much damage into the melee elite because the melee have enough damage to kill it fast enough. I'm just don't want to sit AFK doing no damage, so I just put in Arcane Missiles. So here, this is the second Strider. This is when your 3-minute cooldowns will come up, which I'm using now. Here I switch off because I was about to pull aggro. Our shaman this was the first time they were doing it, so their aggro threat table wasn't the greatest. As you can see, they are running a bit too much than they should have done. Also, I will be getting an innervate soon. The reason I'm getting an innervate versus your healers getting an innervate is because we have 2 Shadow Priests in the group, so we have, I think, 4 of our 5 healers in Shadow Priest group, and they're being told to use mana potions on cooldown. So we do have an extra innervate, and so there I press an innervate macro that I have on the right side of my screen to whisper people when I'm low. So since I have around 550 spirit on this pull, something like that, maybe close to 600, you basically have to whisper to get the innervate when you are basically down. Because as you can see right there, I overcapped some of my mana in the last second of that innervate, and I got the innervate at like 20% mana maybe, and I was still using Arcane Blast throughout. So getting an innervate when you're not spamming Arcane Blast, you will get over 100% of your mana back during the duration of it. Again, that's part of the main reason why Spirit is so good, is because innervates are insane. So just when you call for an innervate, be sure that you're pretty much basically 100% in, or you're in a Arcane Power Heroism type of deal where you're literally dumping mana like crazy. There, our warrior friend died because one of the range liked to net for terrible reasons. So here you can see I all throughout this phase, all throughout when the Striders are up, I pretty much never casted Arcane Missiles because our DPS is pretty tight on the Striders. My guild doesn't have super pumpers, so all these Strider kills are pretty close to when the next Strider spawns. So my guild definitely needs me pumping hard in this phase. So even if I go low into the last phase with not ideal mana, it's kind of what we need. So that's what I do. I used an Arcane Missiles there. I'm not sure why I forgot if I had clear casting proc, but we'll see. I'm not going to rewind it. But again, it doesn't matter that much. If you weave in at Arcane Missiles once, then you're good. So here, you will start to see, this is the last phase. My mana is being a little bit of an issue, because like I said, I needed to kill the Striders. So here, you just saw twice that I weaved in, and you'll see coming up that I'm doing Arcane Blast, clear casting Arcane Missiles to get the double 30% bonus. So you'll see in a sec. I just used Arcane Missiles there to get down the Elite because the Elite needed to die fast, so my raid needed damage. And I'm kind of trying to dump some mana to use my Mana Emerald and Mana Potion to get them on cooldown, because I'll may need another Mana Potion. But here, again, I use my Evocate. I don't have an Innervate. All my mana cooldowns are down. So this is, I'm semi-conserving by using Arcane Blast, and then when I'm getting clear cast, I'm instantly queuing up the Arcane Missiles. And I've done that like 5-6 times. I'm doing this even though I'm still at semi-high mana, because in my head, this last 30% or whatever, people are going to die, people are dying. This phase is still going to last like 2.5 minutes. And I would solely spam Arcane Blast around this point for the rest of the fight, so that I ended the fight with 0 mana. But there was a period of 30 seconds where if I just straight Arcane Blast spammed, that I would likely go in the last, I don't know, 30 seconds of the fight. And I don't want to be spamming just straight Arcane Missiles that last 30 seconds. So here you can see my raid's falling apart a bit. Doesn't look like we're going to get a kill. But I show this attempt because I forgot to record the other ones. And at this pace, I have been fairly unlucky with loot. Phases 2 has been out for 9 weeks. I literally have only gotten 3 tier 5 pieces, so I'm extremely low geared. But if this was a kill and staying on the same pace that I was, this was a 98% parse on all item levels, even though I have terrible gear. So I've pretty much played this fairly perfectly. So those are my thoughts and processes behind the kill or attempt. If you have any questions, put them in the comments and I'll answer them. Bye.